And we're live. I'm going to look over here. Yes, I'm live on Facebook. Good morning, everybody. Let's turn this off here, or at least try. It's not letting me. There we go. I have an iPad over here so that I can see whether or not I'm actually live on Facebook. Good morning. I thank you very much for joining me on this early Tuesday morning. Last week, we were working on Dungeon Note comics. And this week, as promised, I'm working on a commission piece, and I'm very excited about this commission piece. I spent yesterday doing some sketches and coming up with some characters and things that the client has asked me to do, and working through some ideas of my own. And it's a really fun commission for me, simply because you don't get a lot of latitude when you're doing commission work, and I've been given a lot of freedom to do whatever characters I want, as long as they're possessing or holding certain weapons. And so I get to have all kinds of fun stuff. Good morning, Denise. How are you this morning? I'm so glad you're able to join me. This is going to be a fun live stream. I'm just going to kind of jump into it real quick here. Now, if I go day glow, it's because I have all kinds of light bouncing off of me, and I'm a vampire because I work nights, and so my skin is translucent. So I'm going to bring up my Photoshop, and I'm going to switch screens here. I am so glad that you are here, Denise. Cannot wait to get your opinion about what I'm doing. Now, like I said, I have been sketching some stuff, and I've already got it in the scanner. I haven't touched it since I've done some pencil sketches, so just kind of show the process. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with this process because they do it themselves, but I'm going to show it for those who may or may not be familiar. When I do a sketch, I have to get it into the computer. Now, what I do is I just have standard little printers, and a lot of printers come with like a flatbed scanner on them, and that's what I'm going to be using. But you can use your phone. You could take a picture of your artwork, email it to yourself, and then bring it into the computer. You can do it that way, and that's a viable way of doing it too. But I'm going to go ahead and go File, Import, and I have no idea how well this is going to go. You're not seeing my pop-ups. That's interesting. So I'm going to select my software of choice here, and hopefully it'll connect to my little printer, who hopefully has not gone to sleep, which is probably the case. I'm going to have to go over there and, rattle its chain a little bit. Yeah, it might be the case. Hang on just a second. Let me go rattle its chain real fast. I don't mean to be off camera. I originally had hoped... There we go. It's popped up for me. I had originally hoped that I didn't have to get off camera to do that, because I wanted to show off the sketch and then go put it on the scanner. But we're going to preview it, and I'm really kind of bummed because what I'm seeing right here where my cursor is circling is me doing a preview scan, and I was kind of wanting to show that process off. But for whatever reason, the way this is capturing, it's not showing that. So I have it all set up. Oh wow, I got it perfect for once. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to go ahead and scan in the picture so we can at least see it pop in. Again, you're just seeing the little blue circle of death on my screen, but it should open it up here. There we go. So here's the sketch that I'm working with. This is going to be a Goliath, and this Goliath is going to be holding a trident. And I'm very excited about working with this particular character, but there are a few things, even though I tried my best, didn't quite get proportions the way I wanted them. The nice thing about bringing your artwork into the computer is you can do that. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up some adjustments, and I'm just going to adjust the contrast. I'm going to make him a little darker and bring up his contrast so those lines will show up a little bit better. Now I could probably set these as a preset when I scan it with my software, which in this case is Photoshop, but I kind of like having the ability to get in here and be a little more hands-on. For those of you who know me, I am a little more hands-on. All right, so I like that. That looks better. Oh my goodness, I am a translucent ghost. Ah. Anyway, so ignore the white ghost in the lower corner. I'm going to want to change the proportions. There, we can see that. I think his waist is a little too long here, so I'm going to bring like this belt and his loincloth probably up a little bit. And then his, even though I know his legs are a good proportion, from hip to knee doesn't feel right to me, so I'm probably going to lengthen those ever so slightly. Hopefully when I bring the belt up, that'll give me enough room for the legs. But for now, this is the sketch, and I did the trident he's going to be holding. I only had to draw half of it because I'm going to mirror it in the computer, so why struggle trying to get it to look perfect over here? I'm just going to fix it in the computer. Fix everything in post. You like him? Good, I'm glad. Hopefully we'll be able to do some fun things. I'm excited about working with him. So I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to save this piece out. So I'm going to do a save as, which I'm really bummed that is not showing up. I work in PNGs, even though my printer's old enough that it wants to default to BMPs, bumps as opposed to PNGs. Not Pixars, not Pixar, which is a PXR. Okay, so let's see. Let's put this on my PC. Again, you guys can't see any of this. Really bumming me out because I was really wanting to go from, you know, nuts to soup, or whatever the saying is, to be able to do this and show it off in its entirety. So we'll know this for next time, because I have 3 more characters I've got to do this to, and I really would like to do this with you guys each and every time. I am going to continue working on this even after this broadcast, because this is a commission piece and it does need to be done in a timely manner. But fortunately, the person who commissioned this has given me a lot of freedom, so far so good. So I am going to have a characters folder I'm going to work with, and I'm just going to make a folder here. Again, I was wanting to show this all off, that people don't know how to make a bloody folder, but I was going to call this commission, and we're going to call this piece our Goliath. Well, sure, why not? That close enough for government work. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this, and then I'm going to turn off the translucent artist, and I'm going to do that by minimizing this, and then I'm, for you, going to flip over to another screen. Dink. Ta-da! No, I did load the software. So the finished piece is going to be an 11 by 14 piece that's going to be printed on canvas. And it's going to be really kind of a fun piece to do. So I went ahead and went to the place where I'm going to be having this printed, pulled up a template. And it's very important that if you're going to do something for print, that you go ahead and get whatever the template is for that particular printer. You can do 11 by 14 for other printers, and though the templates may be similar, there are just enough differences that it might mess up your piece of artwork if you're not paying attention. Wish you could stay, but the kitchen is calling. Have to cook Thanksgiving. Yes, it is definitely Thanksgiving week. A lot of people are preparing for the season. I am very thankful you're able to come by, Denise. Thank you for coming in, stopping in, and saying hi. So I have here this canvas that I'm going to be working with, and I believe that this, yeah, I have my templated area, then I have an area for art and an area for reference. Let's see if the reference is, oh, ooh, that is the reference. So this is the template I got from my printer, and I use that to make a little more flash friendly version of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, I think I'm going to work with something a little friendlier color-wise. This white is hard on my eyes. I don't know about you guys. So I'm just going to tone it down a little bit to a nice little gray. It's just easier on the eyes, easier on this translucent skin. And then I'm going to go File, Import to Stage. Again, you guys can't see that. I'm going to have to check how this is set up. Import to Stage, which apparently is not unlocked. There we go. Now I can go File, Import to cancel. Hang on. There we go. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Let's go ahead and insert a layer. File, Import to Stage. If I don't have one thing mess up, I'm not doing something right. And you can't see. Dang it. I really got it, because this stuff was showing up in previous streams, and so I'm wondering why it doesn't show up now. Alright, so we're going to go to Characters, and then I have this Commission folder, and there he is. Ba-boom. He is almost perfect as far as the way he's laid out, but we've got to put 3 other characters in the scene with him. Even though I want him dominating the scene, he is still too big. I want to keep everything as much as possible inside this red dotted line, and I might have some room for some fudging later, but for now, and I might make things bigger, I might make things smaller. That's the nice thing about working with computers, you can change your mind. Alright, so I'm very happy with that. We're going to call Goliath, and then we're going to turn him into something that I can work with, and then we're going to start just tracing the outline and working with his head. I was really happy with his head. I really want to kind of get in there and play around with it, but the rest of him is really, it's going to be fun. But I think I'm going to play with the proportions of his body, play with the length of his body, size of his hands I think are too small, I think his waist is too long, so forth and so on. So we're going to play around with this. So for now, we're going to turn him into a symbol, and we're going to start working with him here. Alright, here's where the fun, for me at least, begins. We're going to turn that off. We're going to zoom in on this head, and I'm just going to start doing what I do. Okay, so this layer here is called a reference layer. Ref. And boy, this background is not helped. Look at this Dayglow artist. I need to get some more sun. Better yet, I just need a job that doesn't have me working at night. Can everybody hear me well out there? I don't know if everyone can hear me. I'm just kind of talking at my normal level, but that could be too soft. So we're going to add a layer, and we're going to lock this one, and then we're just going to get in here and start playing around. Now normally I start with noses when I'm building my dungeon notes. Oh good, sound is good, excellent. When I'm doing my dungeon notes characters, I usually start with the nose and kind of build out. By the nature of the way I drew this head and the way it is, I'm probably not going to do that. So I'm going to start off with just the outline of the head and get my obnoxious green. Let's see, what would show best? A green, or I think a red would show best, and probably be less harsh on everybody's eyes. Where to start? Where to start? Where to start? I think I'll start with this amazing jawline. We're going to take and just... Oop, that is not red. That is black. That is red. That can go there. Alright, let's do that again. Do it again. Do it again. Ah, boo. And we're just kind of bring out some of these pieces. Now, the line weight is not what I want, but for the start of this piece, it'll do. Let's play around with that just a little bit. Let's have it out of 1. Let's work at a 3. 3 is too much, in my opinion. So let's do a line weight of 2, just to make it easy to see and manipulate. We'll mess with different weights later. And to keep his face a little more symmetrical, let's see if I want to do this, because this may or may not work. So I'm going to go up here and go to Edit. Is it under Edit, or is it under Modify? It's Modify, Transform. Of course I got that wrong because, you know, I'm trying to show it off. Act like I know what I'm doing. And I'm going to flip this horizontally. And then we're going to put the anchor point here. And I'm going to rotate this jawline into place, just so that they're similar. Bring them down just a little bit. They don't have to be perfect. Symmetry is not always desired, but to get started, just so that the face is a little more even, I'm going to do that. And then I'm just going to start drawing the rest of his jaw here, because he has this amazing jawline, which I'm going to draw out by hand, just simply because I think that should not be symmetrical. That by design, it does not need to be. Now, anything that I want to have a slight curve to the corner, I'm going to put these little chamfers in. Why? Oh, that's turned off. That's why I was like, why am I having issues here? Aha, this is why. That's better. Put a curve in there. Put a curve there. Let's put a nice little curve there. Let's do the same over here. Doing my best Bob Ross. Happy little curve. Let's put in a happy curve. Of course, I don't have the amazing hair that a man had. He had some amazing hair. Alrighty. So, see, that was didn't take too much time. I am going to do this as a unibrow kind of situation here for the moment, just so I can get that nice curve that I want. And then we're going to break it up. And now we're going to play with the nose, because the nose knows. Dink, 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 dink. Yes, I am now working. Good morning, Paul. How are you doing this morning? How is the weather up in San Francisco area? And we're going to stick in the bridge here. And of course, Paul gets to witness me doing none of the best practices that we learned, because it's always fun to break the rules. When we're doing pieces of art. Gorgeous, clear, and cool. Yes, I remember living out in San Francisco every day. This is where they send brand new news anchors or newsmen. They send them to San Francisco just to work on their voice, because every day it's sunny and mild, sunny and mild, sunny and mild, rain. Only in the winter. I do miss living in the Bay Area. There was always so much fun stuff to do. I miss the Mountain View Theater. And the main reason I miss it is because Silicon Graphics was right there across the street back when Silicon Graphics was a thing. Not anymore. Not as a big player as they once used to be. Okay, I'm going to do that same thing here for this brow ridge, but we're going to get rid of a good chunk of that. So we're just going to go dink and dink. Yes, cartoonists do it with sound effects. I say that often, I say it a lot, and I will continue to say it. Let's put this in here. Let's do a little overlap, just because it makes me happy. Put a little love in here. Just, oops, here we go, just a little. Gonna round this out, round that out. That looks better. Gorgeous and cool. All right, now let's go back, and it's a lot faster when I do it this way. I don't know why I don't do my Dungeon Note characters this way, but because I'm always nudging something. I build them, I think I over-engineer those characters just a little bit, just so I have room to wiggle and figure out what I want to do with them. When it comes to something like a commission like this, it's like, no, I know exactly what I'm doing. Isn't that weird? It's kind of like if you were asked to decorate a friend's house, you could do it in a heartbeat, not a problem. But if you had to decorate your own house, then you hem and you haw, and you're like, I don't know what I want to do. And this is kind of the case, I think, is I'm drawing this for someone else, and I got a clear idea of what I wanted to do, and they approved it. Fools. My plan will come to fruition. But if I were drawing this for myself, I think I would be dragging my feet in the dirt for at least a month before I started even drawing sketches. And that's silly. Alrighty. Gonna get a circle tool here. Gonna make sure we're not filling that circle because we're just playing around. And this is for the ear. I'm going to mess around here and put this in here. Let's rotate that just a little bit. Sometimes happy accidents happen. That's what's kind of nice, where it's snapped there for me. And let's get rid of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this with the other side of the head. Economy of motion is what I like to call it. And I'm going to actually probably change this to another color just to make it easier to manipulate later. So I'm going to bring this ear over here. Oops. Apparently I copied that ear over there. I mean, I moved that ear, not copied it. And then we're going to go modify transform. Really wish there was a good hotkey for that. I guess I could assign one if I really wanted it. And we're going to put that ear roughly there. Ish. I'm going to rotate it just a titch. Titch is a technical term. Let's rotate it there. There, just a titch. And bump it out where I want it. And then I can clean up the lines. And there is a rough outline of the head. So far. Our character so far. That's pretty true to the drawing. I'm kind of happy with that. What do you guys think? This will be a good old school. This is coming from a guy who started playing Dungeons & Dragons in 1978. Actually, before then, I got my hands on a copy of Chainmail in 76. Awesome. And this is a race from 5th edition called Goliaths. And they're basically giantkin. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going around finding things like this that are not snapped to a line, because if I were to try to fill this with a color, to flood it with a color, it wouldn't, because it would see an opening and say I can't fill that opening. So I'm just kind of making sure everything's kind of tight where it needs to be. And I never get it right the first time. I'm always hunting for little openings in my drawings like this. But I think for this instance, he is good. So let's go ahead and keep the blue. I'm going to create some circles here, and we're going to start working on the eyes. Again, this is all going to be just one piece. I think we're going to scooch there. Are you working on any animations, Paul? You got anything fun coming up? Let's do that. And oops, doggone it. Okay, it seems to have deleted it. Let's not do that. There we go. And then we're going to go File, oops, Modify, Transform, Horizontal Flip. Not much of a change, but it's enough that I kind of want the eyes to be very similar. And there we go. So let's clean those up. Let's see how those make me feel. They don't make me happy, we'll get rid of them. But I don't know, that's pretty doggone close. Let's take the whole head and unify the color. Doesn't matter what color it is, so we'll just make it all blue. There we go. Just kind of unify it, get a better idea of how it's going to look. I'm fairly happy with the layout. Of course, all I'm doing is tracing. Admittedly my own work, but I'm just tracing. So let's get in here, let's get the pupils. I'm debating whether or not I want to put the pupils on a separate layer, which means I have to do some kind of weird masking thing just to make sure they're looking where I want them to look. But I think we're where we need to be for this piece. I am going to change the color to red so that I can play around with them. Helping out with a very cool project right. Oh, is it something you can talk about? For those of you who are new to this broadcast, Paul Noss is a very good friend of mine who was my mentor when I was working for a company called North Star Studios, and we both worked there as animators. And Paul was the lead animator there, and he took me underneath his wing and taught me the animation skills that I have. And one of the cool things about Paul is he does traditional 2D animation, and he'll do little projects from time to time. Like at the time that we were working together, he was working on Spike and Mike, Sick and Twisted piece, which was a lot of fun. It's a short film done entirely in sign language made by deaf and hard of hearing artists. That's cool. Oh no, that is way cool. I cannot wait to see that. Please keep us in the loop on that project. That would be very, very cool. Is it for a film festival, or is it just a project you guys are going to put together and put it out there? Hey Kurt, how you doing, man? Yeah, that is a very cool project. I'm actually kind of jealous. I haven't done a lot of 2D animation lately. I've been mostly, if I do any animation, it's been mostly 3D, which we both know is kind of like cheating. It's still a lot of work, but it's like cheating. Like, it takes out the tweening process. It takes out the, I don't know how to draw everything from every angle process. Alright, I am kind of happy with these eyes. That's not a bad placement. He is staring into our soul, which is, the whole point of a low-level character. He thinks he's better than what he really is, but he is a Goliath, so he's going to be fun. I really need to refine these hands. I like this hand, but they both need to be a little bit bigger. Alright, so we have our head, we have our eyes. I think I'm going to go ahead and draw out, I'm going to just make a copy of these. I'm going to go ahead and draw out his bags, which is me projecting my bags on him. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And let's get that. I call these the angry bags. Oh, you're not moving, are you? Doggone it. I swear. One of these days I'll figure this piece of software out. Alright. Where'd my background go? Is it me, or did it just disappear? Did I just hide my background? No, my background just literally went, nope, not playing with you anymore. Doing well writing scripts for tutorial videos. Ooh! Everyone's got a cool project going on. What kind of tutorial, may I ask, Kurt? I like it when my friends come in and start showing or talking about their projects too. That's an exciting part of this. This is a lot of fun. Okay, I'm going to figure out why my reference disappeared here, but let me just work with what I've got. Reference, it's just a crutch, right? Okay, going back to my modify, transform, flip, and let's put that in here. It's not going to be quite the same, but I want it to hit the same notes. So we're going to use that as the pivot point, and then drag this where it needs to be. Oh yeah, that makes me happy. I like it when things come together. All right, now I am seeing, yep, there it is. It does exist. All right, so why did it decide it wants to disappear here? Let's go in here, and it's gone there. So I have clearly done, I know what happened. We have added frames to our animation. Speaking of animating, so Animate obviously is used for animations, and it started life off as Flash back when Macromedia was doing it. And I hit something that added, and it's usually F5 that does this, that adds keys to your animations. And so the reason the background disappears is because it doesn't have keys that come out to where I'm at. So let's put that back, stay put. So I'm going to copy this frame, and I'm going to come over here, and we don't have the bags over here, so if I paste this frame here, there, the bags show up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these frames. Clear, let's see, clear frames. No, okay, that took care of that issue. Now let's remove frames. There we go, that's what I was looking for. Okay, we're back on track. I am the U.S. Communications Managers for, I am not even going to try to pronounce that. Just launched a flagship, Ulysses Spiel, ULISSES, capital P, SPIELE, and they just launched a flagship game on Roll20. It's the reason I wanted to make sure I said the name of the company, but I'm sure I butchered it because I are artist. I am rewriting the verbiage for the video to be re-recorded. Nice! Man, everybody's doing cool stuff. This is fun. Nice. Anyone else got any really cool stuff going on? This is, I'm excited. Keep me in that loop too, Kurt. It sounds like a fun project. All right. So speaking of fun projects, we're going to get down here to his mouth because, you know, Goliath. He's got to have that kind of a, not quite a grr mouth. I'm going to put a little more curve in it than I've got in the drawing. And we're going to come down here. And then I think just a little pinch, but that needs to be smaller. This is kind of the inside of the mouth beak thing. And that's the official term for it. It's the beak thing. And then his lower lip. Do I want it at an angle? I think, yeah, let's do this. And then we're going to take this one, do that, just because it's cool. And I think, as far as outlines go and just blocking everything out, that's the head. I think we're good. I do want to add the tattoos and things, but I want to play around with what those are going to look like. Yeah. So that was fast. Ta-da! We're only 35 minutes into the video, and we've finished the outline of the head. So let's keep on cracking. Let's go ahead and work on this body. It needs a lot of tweaking. A lot of tweaking. Oh my. So let's pick a color. Well, first things first, let's grab the head and let's unify the look of him real quick. There we go. And let's go ahead and create a new layer, and we'll call it the body. Because I'm creative like that. And we're going to go back to our red color just so it's easier to see. And let's start with this waist. I'm not happy with how long this waist is. This is a really long waist. I do not know what I was thinking when I did this waist. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna shorten it just a little bit, and I'll probably end up drawing all this stuff down here and then just moving it up to this point on the waist. So for now, let's do the old figure it out when we get there move. Just kind of draw all this. Okay, I'm going to turn this into one big piece and do this for his lats. Alright, he is not really much of a... This is supposed to be more of a circle in here. I am a little off. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle, but I like it to be more circle-y than it is. And that's just because of the way I create my characters. It's got nothing to do with actual real-world anatomy. Clearly, because, I mean, look at this guy. But it's fun. Let's see. Are you guys enjoying this kind of a live stream, or are there other things that you would like me to be doing? Are there processes that you would like me to talk about? Are there other kinds of things that you would like me to do? Like, I do have 3D Studio Max. It's an older version that I can do 3D modeling in and kind of show off how that process is. But for the most part, I'm going to be doing vector graphics for either my own art or, like this, a commission piece. Let's really like this hand. I don't know why I like this hand so much, but we're going to go ahead and capture it while I'm here. And I'm weird that I like watching sausage being made. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. I watch odd things. The reason I have such pallor skin is I work nights, and I have a lot of YouTube running in the background when I'm working, and I go down some really interesting rabbit holes. I do watch a lot of gamers, and I've noticed that a lot of software, like the software I'm using to stream this, is very specifically designed for gamers, and I found that fascinating. Alright, let's not make that so sharp. So, doing the straight lines so I can get in here and grab those Beziers and play around with them. Let's get this corner right here. I think just a little more there. Process and procedure videos. Alright, well, this is kind of what this one is. You can learn a lot. Yeah, you really can. I'm fascinated by people who forge weapons. I clearly do not forge weapons. I would love to go, yeah, I can do that, but I know better. I also know that if I tried, I would hurt myself. Now, I do have friends who do have forges that I'm sure would love to have me out there pounding iron with them, but I just think it would end poorly for us all. So I never claim that I can do the things that I watch, but man, I love knowing the process. Another weird rabbit hole I go down is I like the guys who restore old Hot Wheels. I'm excited to see all of it. Yes. Oh, someone's interacting as me. Whoa! My chat just exploded. What was that? Here we go. I'm excited to see all of it. Yes, some animation. Also really want to see later layers and taking a flat art to shaded detail later. Well, that's exactly where I'm wanting to go with this piece. Ultimately, we're doing some outlines. I mean, I could start doing some of the layer work for the head now. And not a problem. One of my moderators is interacting. Fortunately, I'm the only one who really sees this until later. I love my friends. I have some of the best friends in the world. Some of the most talented people I have surrounded myself with. They make me look good. I love it. Alrighty. I'm not 100% happy with this translation of the hand, but we will work with it for now. See what needs to be done. Moderators for the win, right? I love it. Alrighty, so we got the body started. I'm going to go ahead just for do I have it? First we're going to say file save, because save often, boys and girls. I also have autosave set up on this because I know me. I will go for hours and not save something if I'm really into it. Now, I play a Goliath character, or have played a Goliath character, and I started drawing him, but I never really finished him. So let's see if I can find him, because I like the color. It's kind of this bluish gray pallor for the skin, which is not typical. Let's see. Would that be here? Let's look under characters just to see if he's in here. I don't think Justicar is in here. That's the name of the character that I'm looking for. Oh, no, here he is. He is. Ta-da! So this is Justicar. This was another Goliath that I have drawn, and I tend to like these very blocky square heads for these characters. But you can see there's a lot of similarities in the way I've drawn this. One, the lovely smile that these guys tend to have. But I like this shading and this color, so we're going to borrow this color from Justicar here. And this guy doesn't have quite as a square head. It's got a little more roundedness going to him, but let's just try to, alright, doesn't want to fill. That means I have a hole somewhere. Let's see if we can hunt that down. Let's go back to my fill tool. Okay, there is a hole. It doesn't want to fill it, so let's just... Okay, so it's a very small hole, whatever it is. Alright, let's go back over to Justicar, the character that I created. And let's get those bags under his eyes. Let's throw these in here. Let's throw it in the ear holes too, just because I can do that. And then, of course, we can do a little white for the eyes. Dink, dink, oops. Dink. And I gave Justicar red eyes, didn't I? Yeah, that's because he is... That character is like playing Judge Dredd, but without the sense of humor. He was a fun character. We're also going to unify that, and because Justicar has them, we'll give them to him for now, and then we'll also give him his white teeth for now. So this also gives me a better idea of the head and anything I want to change as far as the volume of the head, the general outlines, and I've already see something I want to kind of tweak and play with. Yes, that fixes it. Let's see. Let's find the edge. There it is. Let's bring that out just a little bit more. And then we'll round that dome. See if we can get that. There we go. There we are. Just, I mean, it's not square. This is a younger character. Justicar is a much older Goliath, and that's why he has these much more angular, and I'm also was playing around with different looks and feels, but I think it's appropriate for this character being a little bit younger. Also, he's being shown a little more straight on, to have a little more roundness to him, show off his youth. His eyes are bigger. He has more rounded features. His forehead is not as big, not as pronounced, and it also gives me a better canvas for doing the tattoos that I want to put on this character. But to show off the layering, I'm not going to do as much layers in this particular piece because there's going to be layers with the different characters to begin with. So I'm not going to focus on those. But I will go ahead and put in a gradient. I think this was a gradient from him. Let's open him up. One of the things Flash doesn't like you to do is pick gradients in a locked layer. You can pick a color, but you can't pick a gradient. It's like, all right. So let's turn this off. Let's see how that turns out here. It's not bad. I'm picking a direction from the light to come from, and I tend to always have my light come from the upper right-hand corner of most of my pieces. The secret behind it is that way I can reuse the art in any other piece. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this. Like I said, I'm going to get that. Thank you. And put it in here. There we go. So now he has just a slight gradient feel to him. You can kind of get the grumpiness that he could have. And now that I've got these in, I don't need to keyline them. And in this character, I think, do I want to do that? No. I think in this character, I'm going to lighten these up just for the color. So what color are they now? They are, and of course you can't see that, so let's move this over here. And you still can't see it. Well, fine, be that way. Put it back over here then. I'm going to lighten, this is a warm gray too, so it's a nice contrast. So I'm just going to lighten it. Well, that's not light enough. Well, let's lighten it again, doggone it. Bink. And lighten it up just a little bit more. Now I want the bags to be there just because it makes his eyes more intense. It keylines them. And I'm going to come back in and do some different shading when I get the whole body put together. But this is a good idea of kind of where he's going to start. This is our vanilla Goliath without any tattoos or shading or lots of little odds and ends that you can just have hours and hours of fun putting in here. And we will probably go over that at some point as I continue drawing this. But we're going to lock his layer. We're going to go back to the body layer. And we're just going to kind of mess around, see what happens. Let's go ahead and go back to the red. And let's work with, actually, let's work with the foreshortened pieces first. Because this is, I'm not sure if I'm going to be happy with this. So we're going to play around with this just a little bit. And of course, back of the hand, back of the wrist. Yeah, not happy with that. But we have time to mess around with it and figure out what this all means. Work on this piece here. This is a highly exaggerated muscle structure. One of these days I might even learn anatomy. There's always something more to learn. And I think that's the fun part. That's why watching those tutorial videos and watching how people do something that we ourselves do maybe every day, just you can always learn something new. It's like I work in 3D Studio Max where I used to work in 3D Studio Max for a profession. And I've been working with it since the DOS days. But that doesn't by any means or stretch of the imagination mean that I'm an expert in it. I have more than once been buzzing along doing something, then watching another artist come along and do the exact same thing, and then they hit a button that I've never seen. I'm like, it does that? You're always learning something. So I never feel bad watching those videos. I've had people point fingers at me and go, you don't know everything? This would be relatives. And I go, no, I don't. Alrighty, let's get that elbow in there. Little elbow knob. And I think I'm going to bring that out just a little bit more. I remember those DOS days, good times. Yes! I don't have this virus called Windows on my computer back then. If you ran a program in DOS, your computer was completely dedicated to that one task. Anyway. Oh, Paul, here's a flash from the past. We want the animations to be realistic. I think I may have made him twitch. We had a game that we were working on, and the company that we were working on it for kept insisting that everything we did animation-wise was realistic, and Paul and I busted our butts. We even got medical data to look at how people walked, to make sure everything we were doing was as realistic as possible. Yeah, there goes your therapy session. I think my eye twitches when I say that company's name, which unfortunately I think is still around. But they sent people down to look at the game. And I found it very interesting that the only thing that these guys who were supposed to come down and make sure we were on track, and were looking at the game, seeing how it was going to play, seeing how the levels were laid out, they never looked at any of that stuff. They literally sat in our cubes, mine in particular, and told us how to animate, even though the guy telling us how to do it wasn't an animator. Long story short, because this went on for months, was they wanted superhero style motions. They wanted everything over exaggerated. They wanted lots of ease ins and ease outs, and they wanted weight and just exaggeration, which is where we started our animations from. And so now we had to scrap all those months of animation reworking what we thought they wanted, and then scrapping that to go back to where we started. I was grateful that we were working in 3D, because prior to that we had been doing everything by hand. We were drawing pixels, pushing pixels, and I think I would have tossed that guy out the window, quite simply because if I was drawing that all by hand and then redid it all by hand to do it the way I thought he wanted it, and then having to go back to the stuff I did originally, I think I'd be in San Quentin still. There's a lot of great stories out of the video game industry, and then there are some horror stories. Not all of it's bad, though. But I never could figure out what the boggle was with them focusing on our... Yeah, we did. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view, is we also changed our camera angles, which was something we needed to do, and I had to spend a weekend re-rendering everything. Fortunately, it was already animated. Unfortunately, it took forever to render. Back then, still takes a while. So, yeah, save everything, save often. I'm gonna play around with this pecs a little bit here. And this will be another one of those things that I will mirror, because it's just easier. I just gotta make sure I get what I like. And bring it back up in here a little bit. Drag this. Do I want that to be straight? Let's play with it a little bit. Alright, that's a good start. Let's drag a copy of it over here. Let's modify that copy by flipping it horizontally and then seeing how it's going to fit. And it probably won't, but let's drag its pivot down to this corner and just kind of ease him in there. That's not so horrible. It's not exactly what I want, but it'll do the job. Here, nope, stop it. Thank you. Just, there we go. I'm going to turn my snap off just for a minute. It's just easier until I get what I want, but I think this is pretty darn close. It will do the job. Alrighty. Save often, save everything. That reminds me of when you're working for different console platforms and you're also working on a PC version of a game. You build everything towards the PC, and then you take your files and you convert them straight over to the Xbox because it's just a mini PC. Then what you do is you take your textures and you abuse them so they fit in a small singularity called VRAM. No. VRAM? Anyway, it was a special section from that guy. You know, when you walk, you actually do move. You actually do moving at one point. I forgot about that, Fred. Why did we not beat him to death? Seriously, why did he get out of the office alive? I have no idea. Stop moving at one point. And start moving again. Yeah. Oh, wow. PTSD just kicked in. Thanks, Paul. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. That's true. I never saw him again. Thank God. I still don't understand what the problem was. And, you know, the worst part about that particular project was all they wanted it for was so they could rip it apart for the technology. They were never going to publish the game. They just wanted the technology. For those of you who don't know, this was one of the early, okay, brought checks, fair enough, PlayStation 1. We worked for a company called North Star Studios, which was the very first company in North America to have a license to work on the PlayStation X or the PlayStation 1. In fact, I found out now working in other shops that if you call it the PSX, they get really angry at you. I don't know why. And it was really cool because they were upstairs. Sony had a set of programmers upstairs, and we were helping them work out the kinks with their art tools, which they were so horrible we just refused to use. But yeah, oh my goodness, just why? I just could never figure out why they were so fastidious about the animations when they weren't even interested in the game. They just wanted the tech. It was a weird period of development for me. Because he brought the checks. That's the only reason he survived. I've talked to Randy about it extensively. I can give you his take on it one-on-one. Someday, yes. Yes, I would love to know what the heck that was about. Because, damn. All right. Moving along. This is actually something I've got to finish one of these days. We are about 30 seconds from the hour. Coming close to wrapping it up. Let me just go ahead and work on this other shoulder here real quick. Got to go down memory lane a little bit, which is always fun. For those of you who are watching this later, you need to watch these live streams because you will get inevitably glimpses of the early days of the video game industry and some of the stories that us old war horses have to tell. I could have gone all day not thinking about that phrase that dude said. Thanks, Paul. Just thanks. Alrighty. I'll work on this arm a little bit. I can't remember if I want that to go behind. No, it's got to be in front. It just doesn't look right. I'll wrestle with it later. I am sending you the therapy bill. Alright, let's do a little ink. I'm probably doing this all wrong, but I will figure it out as I massage these lines over time. Over there. Put this there for the van brace, which he may or may not be wearing when I'm done. And let's throw in this. And throw this in over here. And I know these hands need to be bigger, so I'm going to play around with that. But we are at the just over the hour mark. And this is where I'm at. We've got a real good start on this Goliath character, who's going to be the center character of a 4-character spread in this piece. There's going to be a dwarf, a female dwarf, an elf, and then a character that's going to be in front of this Goliath, crouched down, each one holding a unique weapon. The Goliath is going to be holding a trident, so I'm going to do some interesting things with colors with him so that he has a little more ocean feel about him. There is a version of the Goliaths that have more storm and ocean powers to them as they move along. The main character of this piece, so we have a dwarf with an axe, surprise, and we have an elf with a bow, another surprise. But then I have another nondescript race. Could be human, could be elf, could be hobbit, could be, one of the other prerequisites is very specific weapons. One of them is going to be what this character's holding, and that one of them has to be in purples. And I thought it'd be really cool to have this very cloak and daggery kind of character in purple robes and hoods and masks, very Assassin's Creed-esque feel about them, but then they're crouched down like they're going to attack, and they have this war glaive that is tucked back behind them, and you can see one point of the glaive coming out, the other one coming up behind them, and making them the kind of the focus and center of this piece. And so that's where this is going, and I'm hoping that I achieve some really good dynamic poses. This guy's kind of planted, as he's going to be surrounded by other characters, and so it's not really important that he's in a really dynamic pose. But I really like the others with their backs to the Goliath, looking out to the edges of the piece, and then the centerpiece with these other 3 characters supporting this centerpiece character. So this is going to be, it's exciting. And then the request was a very simple background, so I might just do some splatter paint effects because they probably want to put this on a t-shirt too. So I'm down with that. But thank you all for joining me for this live stream. If you want to see more of these streams, you want me to continue doing these streams, please comment down below. For those of you who are going to be seeing this, let me just flip out over here, who will be seeing this after the fact, watching it after the stream is done, please leave comments about the things you like and don't like. Leave me comments about the things that you want to see me do, the kinds of art you would like. More. Yes, there's always more. Everything I do commissions, obviously. I don't take too many commissions, but I do have commissions open. I do sell t-shirts, buttons, prints. Working on getting the comic books reprinted for the first one, getting the second collection into print. The third one is almost ready to go into print. And then I have the Grand Adventure, which is the long story format, which you've been seeing me work on in the previous live stream. So love seeing you too, Paul. We're going to have to get together, and you're going to have to tell me that wonderful story one of these days. So for the rest of you, thank you again very much for joining me for this live stream. I want you to stay safe out there. It is the Thanksgiving week, so travel safely, be mindful of your environments, and know that you are loved and you are worthy of that love. For now, take care, guys. Bye. And let's see if I can turn this off. Here we go.